Hey there, folks. Happy May. I know you're probably expecting nicer weather, and I know I'm probably not the most popular meteorologist in town delivering you numbers like these. If you don't like winter weather, if you're ready for spring, sorry. And of course it'll be cold enough to get that heavy wet snow in the hills and mountains, but for the valleys, we're going to see periods where it's rain, we're going to see periods where it's snow, and we're going to see periods where it's kind of in between, and that'll cut down on totals.
Well, Albany's at sea level, so we're way down here in the rainy range. But once you go up in elevation, look, Lake Placid's at 1,800 feet, Hurricane Mountain, 3,600 feet, Mount Marcy, the tallest peak in all of New York, over 5,000 feet. It's beautiful up there. It might not be beautiful on Tuesday and Wednesday with a couple of those lake effect snow showers.
As it moved over calmer wind conditions and warmer waters in the northern Gulf of Mexico, it was able to really pick up strength. And look, these numbers speak for themselves. Sustained winds at the center of the storm, 145 miles per hour. As that system approached the coast, there were 18-foot waves south of Buzzards Bay. That's 3 times as tall as I am. That is a very, very dangerous wave.
Let's talk a little bit about the last time you saw some of that snow effect.
We typically see some lake effect snow when really cold, dry air passes over the relatively warm waters of the Great Lakes, and that can shoot out bands of heavy, intense snow. Jill said that a ruler wouldn't do you much good today, so we got the yardstick, and we're going to just do a quick sample, putting that all the way down there. Almost the entire thing covered up, and if you throw it into a snowdrift, you're going to lose it. So on average, we're going to say around 28 inches fell in Schenectady. And right now, it's not like I'm standing in a field or anything. I'm standing in the middle of 5th Street. This is going to be why it's so crucial to stay off the roads, because some of the side streets look like this. They don't look like streets. On a day like today, the Schoharie Creek in the Catskill Mountains is quiet, peaceful, almost still if you're not looking closely. But 10 years ago to the day, it was an entirely different story as torrential rains from what was then Tropical Storm Irene swept through the region.
This was the proverbial perfect storm.
Get up!
We watched recreational vehicles being carried off. Both of us were quite aware that in our lifetimes it was the first great natural disaster that we had ever seen.
As a geologist and one who lives in the Catskills, Robert Titus is more than aware of how dangerous floods can be. The waterways here were carved out of the high terrain in prehistoric times.
The upper reaches of these tributaries were filled with ice, glaciers that would remind you of what you see in Switzerland.
Glaciers that left behind bowl-shaped valleys, especially good at collecting rain. In 2011, Irene brought the rain. Torrents of water rushed down the countless creeks that wind through these hills until finally,
one by one, they entered Schoharie Creek and they filled up Schoharie Creek. That's when it got worse.
In the days and weeks following the storm, Titus was shocked time and time again by the sights that awaited him as he surveyed the damage.
Empty basements. The houses had been lifted up by the flood water and carried away. A house is just a box of wood filled with air. And if the water gets high enough, it is literally carried off.
In the Catskills, Matt Mackie, News 10 ABC. Hey there, Steph. Who's ready for a snowstorm? I know snow lovers haven't had a ton to cheer about lately, and in some spots, they're still going to be disappointed. The Adirondacks might not see much. You go east into the Berkshires, you could get some really solid totals. Albany's right in between. You see, the snow is falling from our Storm Tracker weather cam. This is Northern Boulevard in the capital city, and well, it is coating the roads, but it's not doing a whole lot more than that. Snow's going to stick around for a long time, but we're on the edge of this system. It's going to be very, very light, and overall totals are going to range from like 1 to 3 inches in Albany. That is as the coast gets absolutely smacked, absolutely walloped by this huge nor'easter. I mean, from Long Island to Cape Cod and the Boston area, they're talking a foot, some isolated spots over 2 feet. This is the system that's wreaking all the havoc on the coast of the Northeast. And you can see this band of really, really dark blue indicating where it's just dumping snow right now along the Atlantic shoreline. For us, we need to watch how it's interacting with this dangerous cold air mass up towards the north over Ontario and over Quebec. As this system moves, everything's kind of getting pulled in from the north behind it. So we miss out on the worst of the snow, But I think more so than anyone in New York, we're going to have the worst of the cold and wind. So you're going to need to bundle up today, even if there's not a ton of shoveling to be done. Here's the radar. You see, we're kind of right on the edge of it. One thing you need to know about this map is that, yeah, Glens Falls is in the blue, but with that cold, dry air coming in, a lot of this precipitation is actually evaporating before it hits the ground. So yes, it's coming down in Albany. Glens Falls, if you're standing there out in downtown, the flakes really haven't started flying there. Futurecast, they probably won't. Here's 12 p.m. and notice this insanely sharp cutoff. Catskills have the light snow, Albany has the light snow, southern Vermont has the light snow. Meanwhile, nothing. Just cold, dry air over the Adirondacks, the North Country, and the Mohawk Valley. You're not going to get a lot out of this one. Berkshires, Taconics. You're closer to the center of the storm, so you can expect to see not only the heavier snow in our area, but also that snow will last a little bit longer. By 7 p.m., it's finally beginning to end in Bennington, Adams, Pittsfield, and Lee. And by 9 or 10, it's zipping away out of our area. It's Maine's problem at that point. How much snow do we see? Again, it's not a blockbuster system for us. We get off relatively light. In the white, Schenectady, Albany, Malta, Clifton Park, and then Troy right over there, looking at a solid 1 to 3 inches. 3 to 6 possible now in parts of the Catskills. We have upped that total since yesterday, but I think a more widespread 3 to 6 in the Taconics, Berkshires, and extreme southern Vermont. Meanwhile, the further east you go into Massachusetts, the more dramatically those totals are just going to ramp up and skyrocket. Remember, the other factor we're tracking today is the brutal cold. Single digits almost everywhere, a few below 0 readings in the high spots in the Adirondacks. As we go throughout the remainder of the day, well, those numbers will rise, just not much. A high of around 15. And when you consider the fact that it's going to be awfully windy this afternoon, with gusts well over 30 miles per hour in the hills and mountains, you know it's going to feel like it's below 0. Tomorrow, another breezy and brutal one, waking up to below 0, afternoon high only around 20, with that breeze, while not quite as strong, certainly sticking around. Monday's better, closer to 30, less wind, but we'll still call it chilly. How about this, Steph? Tuesday, we get above freezing. Wednesday, Groundhog Day. I don't think he sees much of a shadow with the clouds, but mild. Wednesday and Thursday, some mid-40s.
Wow, it's going to feel like summer over there.
I was going to say, it almost feels like a beach day compared to what we've been through.
It's like I'm back in Key West already.
Yeah.
There you go.
Thanks for that, Steph. You're bringing it with you.